Hi, it's Terry Stevenson, and I'm back with another video in the Build a Website series. In today's video, we're going to learn more about site content, and we're going to learn all about our contact form. In today's training, we're going to create 3 banners. We're going to learn more invisible box techniques to help us do this very quickly and efficiently. We're going to create this beautiful What We Do banner that is similar to a gallery. We're going to then create this red banner. It's real easy, don't worry. And then we're going to customize and create our contact form and then configure it for our settings. So let's head to our desktop and get started. I brought you here to our original website so we could take a look at our What We Do banner and figure out how we're going to build it. Let's notice we have, first of all, we have a title, What We Do, in that dark gray. It's on a white background, and we have 2 rows of 3 columns, and each column has an image, a title, and a descriptive paragraph. The images are really eye-catching and appealing, so this is going to draw a lot of attention to your website. So let's head back to the editor and get busy building this beautiful banner. Let's scroll down the page. Let's see how much we have. Plenty of room below our banner. We'll come over here and add an element and choose a banner. We'll choose our top classic blue banner. Click out of that. Now we're going to move this banner down and make sure it's tight up against the one above it by using our arrow. Let's right click, go to Appearance, Colors, and we're going to choose white and OK. You're getting really good at making banners. Now let's make this banner a little larger because it is a larger banner. So I'm going to pull that down maybe around to about there for right now. We'll see how that works. Now that we've made our banner, let's head back to the original site, take a look at what we're recreating, and put a plan together about how we're going to execute it. That's the power of the Pixel Perfect Builder. It makes it really easy to create the pages the way we want them to look. We're here on the banner. Let's note that our title reads What We Do. We can add that when we go back, but let's take a closer look at how we're going to construct the image portion of this banner. You can see we have 3 columns, 2 rows, and each image has a title and a paragraph below it that are fully justified. So I think what our best bet is to create an invisible box, put an image, a title, and a paragraph all formatted properly inside that invisible box. Duplicate that box 2 more times and put all 3 of those invisible boxes formatted the way we want them into another invisible box, larger, centered just the way we want them on the page. Then we can duplicate that row and end up with 2 rows. That should save us a lot of time and make what looks to be a complicated banner very easy. So let's get back to the editor and get busy. Here we are on our fresh, nice, clean white banner. First, let's put our title up here, the What We Do title. But I'm going to show you another time-saving tip here. Rather than adding a text box, let's come up here. We already have some text on this banner, so let's highlight this banner. Now you have to use the quick keys and copy this for this technique. You can't use the duplicate. Don't use the duplicate button down here. But highlight and activate your text box and then copy it using your quick codes to your clipboard. So we're going to copy it and then we're going to paste it. And bring that text box down here. We're going to go ahead and double click it and then triple click. And we're going to change the color over here to that darker gray. I think it's that color. Yes. Now we also want to highlight it, make it centered, and I think it probably needs to be bolded, and we need to expand this text box a bit, and then we can highlight it and type in what we do. So now I have our title right there. That looks pretty good. Let's move it right up here appropriately to the top of our banner, and we're going to right click and we're going to center the element, and that way we know it's right there in the middle of the page. Now that we have our title on our banner, let's pull this down a little bit more. Our next step will be to create our first invisible box that's going to hold our image, our title, and our text box. So let's come right back up here and add a box. Click boxes. Let's go ahead and add our invisible box here. We'll close out of here. And that puts a box that has a transparent background and a blue border on our page. Now, one thing I'll definitely want to do is activate my ruler, and I'll want to make sure I put a marker here on my left-hand side that will keep me aware of where my left-hand margin is. So that would be right the 0 point. Let's adjust our box and make it a little longer, but a little narrower. And remember, we're going to want to be able to get 3 of these boxes in our column. So let's see if we can do that. Let's duplicate it. And again, yes, it looks like we can easily put 3 boxes right there on that page, and we probably could even have it be a little bit wider. So I'm going to just widen it a bit and perhaps lengthen it. Make sure we have plenty of room. We can adjust this after we get it formatted. So let's remove these boxes, because remember, we're going to duplicate this box after it's formatted. That's a really important point. If you can do all of your formatting before you duplicate something, it's going to save you a lot of time. So here we have our first invisible box. Let's add an image. Plus, find the image. We'll add the top image here. Close out of this menu. And let's shrink it down by grabbing our little handle and bring it down to a size that we can get it inside the box. Put it right up here in the corners and enlarge it just to see if we can get it right inside that box. That looks like a good size. We're going to right-click the image and center it right in the middle of the box. That looks good. Now let's add our text box. Come back up here, plus, add text. Let's try the title 3 perhaps. That looks about right. Close our menu, shrink our box down. Now let's go back and get our title so we can put it in that box. So let's copy our title. Copy it right to our clipboard and head back and put it in our text box. Let's get our cursor inside our text box, highlight it, paste our title. Now we can shorten our title text box. Let's go ahead and center it. I think it was centered. Now we can place our text title, or image title, right in the text box. We'll widen it just a little bit. We can center it within the box by right-clicking, click Center Element, and it centers it right in the middle of the box there. So now we'll need another text box for our description. Let's add it, text, and let's try the paragraph large. That looks about right. We can close it. We'll bring our text box here. Let's go ahead and put it in our text box so we can adjust the size to it, move it down a bit. Now, you see we have this text box here. If we use our little arrow here on this text box, we can pull it up right up to the bottom of that text. So now we can center this, or actually let's justify it on both sides by clicking in it and selecting it and clicking this justified part. Now it doesn't look like it made any changes there, but we'll go back to our original site and get our text and then enter it in here, and we'll see how it looks. So let's do that now. Let's come up here and grab this description paragraph, copy it to our clipboard. Let's head back to our editor and enter it into that text box. So let's come in and get inside this text box, highlight the text, and paste our description right into that text box. Now, while we're inside the box here, let's go ahead and we're going to highlight it again. While we're here, we're going to justify it on both sides. So we'll click this justification icon, click out of that. I'm going to activate the text box here with our description in it. And you see it has a little arrow too. We can click this arrow. We can pull it right up to the bottom border of this text box above it. And that condenses it really nicely. So we have our first invisible box nicely formatted just the way we want it, except for the images. And now it's time to duplicate these in a nice orderly fashion inside another box. So we're going to come down here. I just want to make some room. Let's move our footer down just a bit. I'm going to move the border of our banner down too for a bit. Now let's add our larger box. Click the plus, come to boxes and lines. We'll add the same transparent box. Click out of that. This time we're going to, first of all, let's make sure we make it tall enough. We can do that by kind of ballparking it, kind of eyeballing it by placing it here, and we'll roughly get the height. Let's move it down here and snap it to that grid line and pull it all the way across, there we go, to the right hand margin. It's extending completely across. First, let's move this box. Make sure you activate just the box and move it down inside of this one and position it right next to that grid line and right to the top. So we'll drop it there. While we have that box highlighted, let's copy it and then paste 2 copies. We'll bring this copy all the way to this side, align it to the right hand edge and at the top, and we'll move this box, we'll activate it and move it into the center. Let's put it right up here at the top, snap to that grid, the top of that box, and we're going to right click. Now let's we can adjust the bottom of this box, this large blue transparent background box, and move it right up nice and tight. While we have that box highlighted, we'll right click, come to borders, we'll click that and remove that blue, click out of that. Now let's come to this first internal box, make sure we activate it and do the same, right border, and we'll remove that color. Looky there. We have an invisible box with 3 invisible boxes in it. And now we can activate the big box Make sure you have the big box activated, and you can drag it right up, place it right underneath that title. Let's go ahead and move this banner edge down again. Activate our large blue box again. And we're going to copy the large box, paste, so we can move this box. We're not going to use the arrow though, we're just going to move the box. So we're moving this box down inside the banner, and we can use the arrow to move it right up nice and tight to the box. So let's take a look at that. Our bottom of our banner is right about here. Let's see where the top is aligned. It looks like it could be a little bit longer. So let's lengthen this a little bit. Might be too much. So let's shorten it just a bit. It's always important to keep everything as balanced as possible. It really makes your user and visitor feel more at ease. Now let's try the preview. Scroll down. That looks awesome. Let's go back to edit. We want to save now. We've done a lot of work. So let's save and save again. The only thing we have left to do on this banner is to replace the images now. So let's do that really quickly. Let's click on the first one. We're going to click on that image and go to Change Image. Brings up our file repository. We're going to find our fruit shop, and let's just start finding some images. There's one. Let's add that one there. Go to the next image. Change Image. Shop. We'll put this one in here. Go to the next image. Directory. We'll try, I don't think we've used that one yet. Come down here to this image. Change Image. Directory we haven't used this one. Image. Change Image. Shop Directory. Let's try that one. And our last image here. Let's change image. Fruit Shop Directory. This one. Save. Save again. Let's look at preview and see what it looks like with our images. Beautiful. Beautiful. Job well done. That's one banner down. I brought you back here to the original site so we could take a quick look at the next banner we're going to build today. It's a really easy one. It's really simple. It's a nice red banner. It goes from edge to edge. In our fire brick red, we have a title, Liked Our Service, with a paragraph underneath it. And the button, it's the same button in our first banner, so this is going to be really easy to build. First of all, while we're here, we're going to highlight our paragraph, copy it to the clipboard. I think I can remember the title. And let's head back and build this banner so fast your head's gonna spin. So let's build another banner. First, let's go ahead and move our footer down. That gives us plenty of room for this banner. It's not a very wide banner, so let's go ahead and get a banner on the page. Come to the plus, add element, down here to banner. We'll choose our favorite classic blue, pull it down, and then we'll pull it back up until it stops. And let's go ahead and shorten this. Shorten it about there. Right click, go to Appearance, come to Colors. We'll click on the blue paintbrush. And remember, we saved our color. So we're going to go ahead and click here, Save Color. Let's close this. Now, don't forget, if you have not saved that color on your palette, on the color picker, you can come right back up here, use that eyedropper tool and grab it again, or you can right-click on the banner, go to Appearance, come over here to the header settings, come down here to Colors, click on that color, come over here to more colors, and it will give you the hex codes right there on in this field. So you can always find your code that you've used before that way, but it's always nice to save it if you think of it. So let's click out of that, move back down to our banner. The first thing we need to do is grab a title. Remember, we're using this title style. So we can highlight it, copy it, paste it, and then we can just drag this down all the way, put it on our banner, double click in it, and this banner said liked our service as a question. So we've got liked our service in there, and we can highlight it and change it to white, expand our text box. Now we have another text box down here. So let's add another text box. Go to add element, text. Let's use, how about let's use the body large. Click out of that, double click in it, triple click and highlight it all, and then paste what we have on our clipboard right in there. Highlight it, change it to white, position that right about there, I think. We might want to shorten that just a little. We'll go back and check to see how the page was set up. And then we have our button over here. But remember, we don't even have to add the button. It's the same button that's on the banner, on our first banner. So let's go back on up there, and we're going to highlight that button, copy it, paste it. Now we have another button. We can pull it on down, just scroll, and then pull it down, scroll, pull it down, position it. Now let's go back to the page and take a look at how it was laid out and come back and adjust it. Okay, we see that we have our liked our service all on one line, and it's lined up just a little inside the edge of the picture above it, with the text on 3 lines right below it. And the button over here is aligned about the same distance from this picture's edge. And yes, let's go do this. So let's line up that L. Yeah, that's just about right. Let's go ahead and line this up just about like that. Maybe bring it in a little like that. That's lined up, well, maybe a little bit over. And then we can take our button, and I think it needs to come in just down just a bit. Now let's adjust our width. Let's see. That looks close there, but now we need to move our button. So let's move our button in a little bit. I think if we get the center of it between those 2 images, and then bring it down and center it between these 2 elements. Yes, that, maybe move this over just a little. Boy, that didn't take long. Look, there's our next banner done. Let's preview it. That looks good to me. Return to edit. Now let's save it. And save again. So let's head back to the original site, take a look at the next banner, which is our contact form, and we'll check out what we have to build next. So here we are on the original site. Let's scroll down a little bit and take a look at this contact form. First of all, it says contact us in that gray. It also has a paragraph below it that's center justified. Then we have the contact form itself, which has a first name, the email, a subject line, a message, and a submit button. And the button itself goes from one edge of the form to the other on a white background for the banner. So let's copy this paragraph to our clipboard. Now we can head back and get started by building the banner. So we're back in the editor. Let's move our footer down and make some more room. Go to the plus sign, add our banner. We'll use the same blue banner and close this menu. You know the drill. Pull it down and then pull it up with the arrow. Right click, go to the appearance, go to colors, choose white and click OK. The first element we want to put on this banner will be our title, our Contact Us title. So we have that same gray title here, right here at the What We Do. Let's copy it and paste it. And let's drag that copy all the way down, and we'll put it right here at the top of our banner. Now we're going to double click, select our text, and we'll change that to Contact Us. Then we're going to right click and center the element. We want to keep that right in the middle of the page. So that's done. So we need to add that paragraph that we copied to our clipboard right underneath this Contact Us. So we can also probably use this same text here. Let's copy it and paste it. Bring it down. Double click. Select all the text. Paste our text into it. Now we're going to want to center this text with center justified, so we'll do that. And it was also wider, so we can make it a little wider. And then we can pull it right up here underneath. We want to pull it up right up underneath that text box with our arrow and center it. So we have our text. Now we have to add our contact form. I think that might have been a little bit wider actually. Now let's center it. So we'll pull this down and make a little bit more room. Come to the plus and come down here to contact form right here. And that brings up a lot of options here. You can scroll down there and you can take a look and see what you might like. We're looking for something pretty basic. Let's just choose this one. Close out of that. And we'll pull this element down. We can make it a little wider just by adjusting it this way. Well, let's leave it about like that. The first thing, let's work on the appearance and customizing the appearance of our contact form. So let's right click, go to appearance, and it brings up our edit the element card. And we have a couple different forms. We could change the style of these forms, but we'll stick with this one. We'll come over here to the gear again, and that brings up a lot of options. Here at the top we have the form label styles, and we can change the formatting and the color of the labels. Here's the field styles. And we have the field styles with the border color as gray and the label colors as this darker gray, which is really nice. You have all the options of changing all these other attributes of this contact form, like hover colors, but we're going to keep that the same. Down here you can change the spacing between the fields. You can change the height of the fields. We can put a border on it, but I don't think we want a border on this. We can round borders if we want. You can put shadows on it, but we don't need a shadow. Let's go ahead and close out of that and look at the style of button. You can choose the style of button. Here is where we're going to alter what our button looks like. Right now we have our background color as this almost like a sea green, so we will want to change that. Let's change it to that green that we have on the other button right here, and we'll click that and hit OK. We can also change the label colors, the background colors, all of that. We can change the corners, of course, whether it has a border, the border size, a color. Down here's where we can change our size, and that's particularly what I was looking for, because right now the button only goes to maybe an inch of the form. Let's set that and have it go all the way across the form. And the height looks a little small, so let's make it a little taller. Right here's another slide that we can do that. I think our original had a button that was about that height, but now that we've made it taller, that looks very small. So let's adjust the font. So to adjust our font, let's go here, configure we right click, we go to appearance, come to the button, and click on the gear, come to style of button. We're going to scroll down here, find our font and make it larger. That looks good. So we can close that. Now our contact form is close to being what we're looking for. We didn't have a last name on our original, so we're going to configure our fields now. So let's right click and configure the elements. We're going to go to elements. These are the elements of your contact form. And right now we have a box, and in the box, this is the blue, is a big box. It has a first name and a last name. We have another box, that's the blue, with the email, and another box with the subject line, and another box with the message. Let's eliminate the last name completely. So we're going to eliminate the last name by clicking on this red minus sign. It's going to give us an alert, and we're going to say OK. Now let's take and move our email up into that first box. We're just going to drag it right up there. So we have an empty box here. Let's get rid of that box. That's the blue. Click the minus sign. Click OK. Let's move our subject line up into that first box, because we're only going to want to have one box. We can get rid of this box now. It's empty. So click it. Click OK. Scrolling down, we have our message. Let's move it up into the top box and remove this box. So now we have one box. Right now it has first name, then an email, then the message, and the subject. So that's not going to work right. We're going to move that subject line above the message. And yes, I like having the first name, then the email, then the subject, and then the message. But you can see you can move these around any way you want. That's the order I want it in. Once I have that set, we hit confirm. Our contact form reflects those changes. Let's make this a little wider. Let's center it on the page by right-clicking and hitting Center Element. Now the only thing we have to really do now is configure this contact form to get the information that gets submitted to us into our emails or wherever we're going to send it. So let's right click and we're going to go to configure. That brings up your configure card and you have two sides. These are two different ways that we can use this contact form. This is on the right hand side. This is where you would take the information that we're gathering in the form and put it into a file, or it would be a way of getting information. So we're not going to do that right now. We're going to work on the left-hand side here, and this is where you configure received email response. We're going to come down here and click Edit. That's going to bring up the configure card. Up here in this top field where it says My Email, this is where you're going to put an email where you're going to receive a notification with the information in it that you got from this submission on the website. So you're going to want to put an email in your email in that field. So let's see. I'll put one of my emails in this field. Now you can also add multiple emails just by putting in a comma. We could just add a comma here, and I can add a second email. I can add a third and a fourth email if I want, as long as I separate it by commas. So that means, like if you have a virtual assistant or an administrator of some kind, somebody that needs the information as well as you, or if you have a duplicate email that you always send important emails to, kind of like a backup, you can enter that information in this field and send all of the information that you receive from this contact form to whoever you want to send it. Now, down here in the next field, the subject, I always put something that will remind me, and I'll know exactly where this is coming from in my email. So I'd put something like, I might put something like fruit shop contact form. And that way, when I see that email come into my email inbox, I know exactly what it's about and I can respond to it as quickly as I need to. The next field down is you can choose a list of coupons if you want to offer that. We're not going to do that today. You also have the ability to do an action after somebody submits a contact form. We're not going to do that either today. Down here is where you can edit an automatic message. If you want to set one up, we'll keep it simple today. We're going to hit confirm. And down here you will see set success message, this orange button. If you click on that, this will show you the little pop-up that your user will receive when they hit the submit button. And right now here it says write your success. So I just typed in a really brief message that reads, thank you for your interest. We will respond to your message within 24 hours. The Fruit Shop team. So once you have your success message set, just hit confirm. And that's all done. So we can close out of that. Now we have done an awful lot, so let's save and save again. Now let's turn off our ruler and check our spacing. Here's the bottom of our banner. We'll want to bring that up a bit. Keep it very well balanced. That looks pretty good right there. So I'll save it again. It never hurts to save. So we've really accomplished a lot. And that banner is finished. Well, this training video has been jam-packed full of action. We've learned to customize 3 banners. All 3 are What We Do banner, our Contact Us banner, and this Liked Our Service banner. We learned more invisible box techniques, and we also learned to customize and create a contact form. and then we configured our contact form to get all that valuable information right where we need to send it. So we've learned a lot. I hope you're enjoying the training, and I'll see you in the next video.